What's up guys and welcome back to the channel. I'm Andy the Middle Age Gamer and this is the KWA Tavor SAR 21 Flat Top GBBR review. Now, as always, usual disclosures ahead. This is an airsoft toy. This is not a real firearm. There are no real firearms in this video or in any of my videos. This video was filmed in a safe and secure location with no other risk to persons or property at all. And this video is meant for educational and entertainment purposes only. These are my own opinions on this GBBR based off my own experiences with this airsoft product. And hopefully the guy from YouTube or girl from YouTube that's manually reviewing this video will understand that and not limit my video. But that is entirely up to YouTube. But hopefully we'll get through. Now, with all that being said, let's jump in. Okay, so for the purposes of this video review and the information I have to give you in its history, I will refer to the military organization that uses this in the real steel world as IDF. I won't name the country due to the current ongoing situation and YouTube policies, but for historical purposes, if you search for IDF, you will already know who they are. IWI are the main manufacturer of weapons for that country, as well as the civilian market, and was tasked in the late 1990s with updating their Galil and bringing it their, IDF forces a brand new, super futuristic weapon that's going to last them for the next 30 or 40 years. Lo and behold, they looked at the market and saw what will give them a great CQB gun and a gun that you could reach out and touch. And the only way you can achieve that is by a bullpup design. And so we have what we have here, the Tavor SAR 21, which is the ultimate version released in 2014 by, IWI for the IDF forces and on the civilian market at very much the same time. And has now been, I believe, replaced with the X95 for about half of them, but they still are in service, and they're still going to be in service for a long time to come. So, with that very convoluted way of an explanation, let's jump in and take a look at what is possibly the best ergonomically bullpup on the market. Leave it in the comments down below what you think. So, let's take a look. Okay, so starting here at the rear, you do have this very nice, thick, rubberized butt pad here that has slight vertical serrations along it for helping you grip your shoulder. This butt pad does double as a trapdoor. You would pop this captive pin, comes up, and that will just open up and allow you access to clean and maintain your airsoft replica or the real steel, depending on which one you own. Now, these two pins here do pop out and you can remove the bolt release, but they do not work the same as the real steel where the whole fire control group can be easily removed. Instead, sadly, KWA did lock that in there. We don't know why. It was the design choice that KWA made, but obviously with the F90 that they've just released, they kind of fixed that issue. They made it more correct to how the real steel will work. Now you do have a QD sling point here that is mirrored on both sides for lefty and righty. This is a very ambidextrous bullpup. You do see your Tavor SAR 223 Remington, IWI US Hartsburg, the US address there, and IWI Tavor. You do have a unique serial number here, which is very unique. If I bring this up to the thing, you can see each one gets that. And as you can see, there's the serrations on the rear. It's nice, very good at what it does. Now, of course, we do have the left-hand ejection port here at the rear. If you want to run left-handed, it's entirely up to you. You can switch this over and you can unscrew the, brass deflector there and flip it around to the other side. Obviously, none of these changes are meant to be done in the field. They're meant to be done before you go out to battle or to use. So just bear that in mind. Here's your, little clip, the spring-loaded latch for your magazine. And that's kind of really cool with this gun. One of the improvements that they made, unlike the Tavor that has the mag release here, and you would have to go in, grab the mag, get another mag and put it in. You could tactical reload it, but you would need very long hands, fingers and so on, to grab 2 mags, and it was a bit of a ball ache. You'd still end up coming up with your, support hand and slapping the bolt release, or manually using the charging handle up front. Now, what they did with this was put the magazine release here, just behind the pistol grip, as you would say, in a prime location. The reason being is there are 2 ways you can do this. You can use your fire control hand to just pull it in the rearward situation using this part of your hand here to bump it, and that will drop your mag free. Again, this is airsoft. You don't want to be dropping these things because they are expensive for the magazines and they will break easily, especially the feed lips. But in the real steel, that's how you would do it very quick, and just slap the new mag in. And when you do it, you grab the mag as so with your thumb up, and as you do it, just like you're giving this video a like, and hit the bolt release right here. So if I just press that, you can hear it go home. Now, of course, you can do that with the tactical reload if you want. You could grab your mag from the pouch at the bottom with the top up here, and then using your little fingers here, grab this, hit the button, slide in the new one, sliding in and dropping the bolt, and then storing your magazine in your pouch. You can do that. It's a lot easier to do that with this rifle than it is with the F90. So kudos to IWI and KWA for coming up with that. That's brilliant. Okay, so let's talk about the magazine, shall we? So we can press the button in, pull the mag out. We'll let the gun rest itself down there. Okay, so as you can see, these are airsoft magazines. They're not real. Your fill valve is right there at the bottom. And as you can see for markings, I don't know if I can get that on camera. Let's have a look. It does say Israel Weapon Industries, IWI, Israeli Weapon Industries, which is nice. You got the IWI logo there. Now, the good thing about this is that because these magazine patterns are LM4 from KWA, you can use any of their IWI or LM4 magazines on here, giving you more of a, ability, to access magazines and keep this weapon in the field a lot longer and find cheaper price. So I'll leave the magazine out for the rest of this. We don't need it yet. Actually, let's do what we always do. Lock the bolt to the rear, and then we'll take it out. Yes, you can do it manually, but it's a bit of a two-handed affair. You can pull this bolt release down and hold it down while you charge the handle, and away you go. It will lock to the rear. It's just easier to do it that way. Now, what you can see here in between the grip and that is your release for your barrel. It's used using this key hole here, and you have this side with the lock here. Now, in order to remove the barrel, to convert it to a DMR, for instance, which you can do, I'm not going to show you in this video, but you would push in on this side and take that out, but you would have to actually field strip this gun. I wouldn't say field strip, but detail strip this gun is the right word, to get this completely ready to do so. It's not just a 2-minute job, and you couldn't do it in the field. Now, you do get the lightning cuts up there to allow for heat exchange on the real steel. In airsoft, it's just there because it's there on the real one, but it doesn't do anything for the barrel. So that's kind of cool. Let's keep the matching. Now, let's move down to the grip. The grip took inspiration from the AUG, as you can tell, and they did texturize the grip to make it a lot more comfortable to hold and decent for the shooter to use. So that's quite nice. Now, of course, it's quite good there. As you can see, you have that little button there. If you push that in, you can remove the end cap, and IWI sell the bipod for this. What you would do is remove this piece here. The bipod slots in at the bottom. It does add a little bit of lower height, but then you have the legs that fold up and lock inside this cutout here, and they will just drop down if you want to use it as a DMR or as a sniper variant, etc. Whatever you want to call it. Now, when it comes to the fire controls, they wanted to keep the AR-15, so you do have a selector just like an AR-15. So it's straight down, and you go straight into semi-auto, and if you go 45 degrees more, you will go to the fun mode. Of course, it's very easy to lock in. You can hear that detent. Nice and positive. But if you use a high purchase, you will accidentally bump it like that, and then it will start going into fun mode. So just to be aware that that can happen. Now, if you do want, you can modify this, but I'm not going to tell you or condone how. They do sell smaller, shorter switches just in case with little scallops out and so on separately. Now, this is reversible. There's a pin on the other side. You can flip this around and put it to a right-hand shooter, or you can purchase one for the other side directly. It's entirely up to you. Now, when we go with that, let's talk about the trigger. So, drop in the bolt there. The trigger on this is really good trigger. It uses, unlike the other bullpups of its type, such as the AUG, it doesn't use a two-stage trigger or anything like that, or a progressive trigger, as you would call it. That's straight. It's basically the same as a normal rifle. You have a 1mm take-up. There's your wall. You've got 1mm to break, another millimeter to travel, so grand total of 3mm of total travel. Apologies for any noises in the background again. They're deciding to do work as always. Joys of... Now, of course, if you let go, you can go 1, 2mm, and it'll auto reset with a 1mm break again, reset again. So it's really good. It's fast. It's very light. You're talking about a 4-pound pull. It's nice. Now, you do have your front sling mount right here on this. It's set up for a right-hand shooter. You can undo the back when you disassemble this and flip this around if you wish to have it set up for a lefty. Like I say, this can be set up really easily as a left-hand shooter. And here at the front you have the ergonomic handguard. Now, as you can see, there is the button here, but none of the electricals come from KWA or even with IWI out the box. You will need to buy their lighting kit for the handguard, and basically it just puts the electronic button behind here, and that wire comes out into your handguard here, or I should say your rail mount system, and you can then just plug it straight into your light. It's an easier way of doing it, as you would say. There is a lot more options out there, of course. Now, for the purposes of ease, I just put some Velcro there, and I just Velcro the pressure switch right there. Very simple. As you can see, that is your charging handle. You can pull it to the rear, let go. You can lock it to the front. It should automatically go, and it will do once you have a magazine in. It will go all the way forward, and there you go, locked. It is locked in. You can't just easily pull. It's non-reciprocating, but can be flipped over to the other side. You would swap the rail and this. It just goes around. Now, speaking of rails, as you can see, one of the claims of the flat top version is you have this massive monolithic rail. It is full metal, it's not plastic, and is really good. It allows you to fit your optics and magnifier, night vision, light aiming modules, your D-balls and so on can be mounted to this. A lot more easier than the old one where you only had like 2/3 or a third, depending on the model, of rail. So you now have enough room. Of course, I've set mine up with just an RMR for CQB. Now, of course, this does come out the box with iron sights. What do I mean? Well, as you can tell, they are hidden away. You can just pull up on this segment here. You have a rear iron sight, which has a aperture here, if I can get this to work. So, yep, you have a nice little aperture right there. It's non-adjustable. And here at the front, if we find here, we can pull up. There, you have your front post, which is adjustable for elevation. So, nice, simple, hidden away. It's nice to have them and not need them, than need them and not have them, as they say. So, moving forward, we do have the barrel. As you can see here, it's fully marked and traded, even though this is airsoft. It's quite nice. And you do have a bird cage. As you can see, mine's a bit loose at the moment because it's not what I generally use on this. Generally, I have other things for airsoft. You guys know what I mean. And it's a 14mm counterclockwise, so any airsoft device you want to put up at the front, you will be able to do it. Now, if we flip it around, as you can see, everything is nice and mirrored on here, so you can still use the main controls. The only thing you would need to do is flip the control around if you want to have it on this side. And same here, if you want the charging handle up here, you would take this nice large rail off, you would put it over on that side, and that will give you the option to have it over there, which is really good. And of course, it's simple. Now, like I say, that makes this gun pretty much ambidextrous out of the box. Now, how does she shoot? Well, let's take it out to the range and find out. Okay, I'm using green gas and 0.25 gram BBs. Okay, That's 5, giving us a average of 427.3 FPS, max of 439. Okay, let's take it back to about 15 meters and let's see what she can do. A few misses as I get my hold right, and that's not bad. Go for the Texas Star and let's see what we can do. And we did it. Okay, so as you can see, this thing shoots a little bit pokey, right? Now, of course, with that FPS, it's going to be set as a DMR and for outdoor use at this moment in time. But the one thing I will state is I am in the process of trying to get this, how would you say, FPS down. The problems with this rifle is as it's no longer manufactured. It was halted in Asia in 2021, but the UK lost the Tavor in 2019, only after a year of sales. We don't know why, it's just KWA. I think it's because it's a bullpup at the time, and that was looked unfairly, but nowadays bullpups are seen as a really awesome design. So, again, comment down below what you think. Now, one thing I will state, these magazines are alright, they're easy to feed, they hold a lot, and very efficient when they work, but they leak like a bloody sieve. Just bear that in mind, you will be repairing these magazines quite frequently. I would definitely use the LM4 ones over these, just FYI. Now, let's do a bit of the reverse. Let's go over the internals. So your recoil and guy rod spring, as you notice, may look very similar to the G36. And you've got a steel guide rod and spring system, a brass insert right there, and you do have a steel pins in there and a nice zinc buffer and a little rubber plate here on the zinc buffer for it to absorb that recoil. Very nice, very reminiscent of the G36, and so is the bolt carrier. As you can see, the bolt carrier is a short stroke gas piston operated weapons in the real steel, so they've replicated that, but it's airsoft. Now, what I mean by it's really decent is this is whole aluminum, so it's lightweight, which again means it's more efficient. And you have steel inserts here. This whole front end cap all the way around here is steel, and that is where you would have your locking surfaces to lock the bolt to the rear. I don't know if I can get that in focus for you. Come on, there we go. But here, right there, allowing you to lock in. Now, as you can see, the nozzle diameter on this thing is very, very wide and is metal, along with the loading arm. Just something for you guys to understand. But this whole thing really does work. It's a ball ache to disassemble for replacing the nozzle and that, but once you get your head around it, you won't do what I did and scratch this thing up. But it's really decent in that respect when it works. Now, let's move up to the receiver. Like I say, without fully doing a detailed field strip, removing the entire rail, the only way you can access the fire control group is to do all that and then pull out the whole metal internal chassis. It's too much for this purposes of this video, so I just want to state that now. Now let's see what's inside. So in order to do the usual maintenance, if I can get my light, let's, okay. Don't know if we can get that on camera, come on. Right, in there is your hammer and your sears and all that. All your hammer and pieces in there are steel. Okay, that's great. And you've got this full metal chassis you can see here around the outside that holds everything in place. It's a really decent system and really does work. You're not going to be replacing hammers or anything like that very soon. Now, of course, if we flip this around, I can show you the hop inside. Again, bring my light in. So, as you can see right there, it is the traditional NS2 style or Type 2 style of hop adjustment where you need the tool normally, but you can with your finger just put in and adjust it. It's not that hard. The ejection port on this is quite large, giving you more room to do the things you need to do. Now, that's kind of cool. And like I say, it does work, but due to the recoil of this being quite substantial, I've noticed after a few hundred rounds or so, it might start to shift your hop, and you would have to just make micro adjustments here and there. The good way is it's quick and easy to do, but just an FYI for you guys. The new Type 3 that's in the F90 is definitely the way that they should go, and I definitely appreciate that. So, with that, like that, that brings us to basically everything internally that you can, or you should be messing around with to clean. Lubrication's easy with your hand. It's large enough cavern in there that you can get a rag in there or some long Q-tips to clean the rails and the internals and re-lube. It's just a ball ache that you can't remove it to do it a lot more simpler, but it is airsoft at the end of the day. So with that being said, let's get this all put back together and go over our final thoughts. Okay, so if you've gotten this far in the video and you're not subscribed, then please consider subscribing. It's completely free. Just hit that subscribe button while you're there, hit the notification bell and the like button. That way YouTube knows that you like the video and will help promote it, and you get notified whenever I upload a new awesome video like this. So it was a win-win. Now, if you want to go one step further, you do have YouTube Thanks, which is basically YouTube's version of Buy Me a Coffee and allows you to donate directly to the channel if you wish to do so. A huge thank you, just in case you do. And if you don't, still, huge thank you for considering it. Now, with that being said, let's move on to final thoughts. So let's do the best thing possible and get the negative out the way. The negative being the leaky mags, the proprietary inner barrel and bucking from KWA. As this is KWA, it's generally par for the course. And I still say that in 2024, we should not be having this. It should be a universal spec now. Slowly, companies are actually going down that route. You see it, everyone trying to copy the Marui spec, or the Marui gas blowback spec to be exact. But there are still a few holdout companies out there. So yes, it would be nice, it's easier, and it allows to keep the prices down for us because there's more competition. Now, like I say, the other negative is the fact that this is no longer available to purchase from KWA, as they have officially retired it back into 2021. And now that all the stock seems to have dried up everywhere, it's hard to get your hands on one of these. It sucks, and the only light at the end of that tunnel, from what I've spoken to with representatives of KWA and other, retailers, is the fact that basically KWA are waiting to see how the F90 does now. If the F90 proves that Bullpups can be successful, then they will start by releasing the short barrel version of it, of the F90, and as a upgrade kit for those that have the long barrel. And they are considering, they're well underway considering the X95 as their next release. Again, that's something I would definitely be getting on the channel as soon as they do, but it's just something for you guys to bear in mind. We do need more Bullpups out there, and it adds a spice of life to the airsoft field. For the many times that I've been airsofting, I keep seeing lots of, M4 derivatives or AR-15 derivatives, short, long, medium, you name it, or AK. Whether it's a short barrel, long barrel, 9mm AK, or, you name it. It's just an AK. And at that point, yes, it's gets a bit boring. So seeing a bullpup is really cool, and it allows you to stand out on the battlefield. So there we go. We've already got our first one. It's a bullpup. It's really cool. The ergonomics of the Tavor are far more ergonomic than the F90 is, and the F90 was designed in 2017 officially and adopted then. So yeah, it's like the design of the Tavor, it takes everything of the from the bullpups that we know and love, but dumps all the faff and the mess that we just don't like, and gives you all the ergonomics, a lightweight platform that's basically a do-it-all gun. It's really cool, and it does what it says on the tin. Now, of course, it's all entirely up to what you guys think, and I would love to know down in the comments down below. I will read. I do stick around for a few days, and I do try to answer as many comments as I can. Obviously, I can't answer everyone, but I do try. And like I say, This is only possible thanks to you guys. So a huge thank you once again for watching these videos and subscribing to the channel and helping this channel grow. So, like I say, thank you. And with that, we have gotten to the end. If you want to see any more updates on this, let me know in the comments down below. Like if I manage to get the FPS down, that would be no problem. And of course, I think I've got one more video where this is, compared to the F90 coming. So if you want to see that, then again, tune in down below. With that being said, I've been the Middle Aged Gamer. You guys have been awesome. And I will see you in the next video.